I am excited about the stream today and about building another web app example. So today I'm going to be working on an adventure game, but first I need to organize a few different things. So I'm gonna do that first. So I'm gonna go into, where is it? I'm gonna go into my apps directory, and I'm gonna go into the home page. I'm gonna just add some margin bottom to, I think, to this right here. Margin bottom 4 maybe, just so you can have some more room to scroll down here. No, that's not enough. Maybe like 8 would be better. I think, that didn't work. Let's see. Let's see if that even did anything. MB8 didn't do anything. So if I look into my public directory and utils, and I look at MB, it only goes up to 7. So let's try 7, see what that looks like. Yeah, I don't know. It's decent. Why don't we do 7.5 and 7.5. I'll do 7.5 here. And then let's just paste this again so we have 8. Okay, awesome. So now we have 8. So now if we refresh, it should be a little bit better. Okay, yeah, that gives it a little bit more room. Okay, so now we have task follow, and that's working. So if you go to the app, you can see that all the code, all the data is there, and we can add new items. Hey, Dimken, how's it going? Let me know if you have any questions or anything you want to learn about. So yeah, I can reorganize this. I can change the data. If I refresh, that data is going to stay there. So it's saving data. And if we look at the database, we can see we have this user down here, and there's app data in here. And then we've got task fellow. So this is the name of the app, right? Task fellow. And then we have the data that's associated with this. So if we hover over this, we can see, the full data, and we store it as a string. And yeah, there's reasons for that that I won't go into right now. But yeah, we store all of each app's data as a string. So if I go back here, okay, let's see. We're getting an error. Our first error of the day. This is nice. Okay, so we have at init rendered routes 26. I thought I fixed this error, actually. So if I go to 26, okay, so we're looking for the app data that's at default. And I thought that would be settled because when I'm creating a new user, so if I go into main and I look at where the new user's created, down here, I say if there's no if appdata.default isn't defined, then set appdata.default to an empty string. So this is to an empty kind of JSON stringified object. Hey Tade, how's it going? So let's see if that works. I'm going to sign up as a new user, and I'm going to see what the data looks like in the database. And I think it's going to look fine. So I think what's happening is it's getting overwritten at some point. So, okay, so we have it there, right? So we have default, we have shared, we have task fellow. Now if I go to this task fellow app and refresh, let's see. I still have the same data. Now I think the problem is going to arise when I save. So when I add a new item and let's say drag it around or whatever, and now I refresh, I have the same user, boom, it erased the data that used to be there. So this is the problem. So I believe the problem is going to be in the API routes. So for some reason, the data isn't saving here in the right way. And that actually totally makes sense. I think I tried to fix this yesterday, but I must have, I don't know, not done it. I don't know. I guess I was a little tired yesterday. Um, so yeah, so the update command can't look like this. The reason, um, so this is like a Mongo update command, and basically this is the command part of it, and then it's telling, you know, the database to, set some data on this key. And right now it's just setting it to an empty object. But then here, I go into that empty object, and then I go into the app name, and I set it to a string. Now, the problem with that is it's actually going to overwrite everything along this path, this object path. So like right now, what I have is something that looks like this. I have app data, and then the app name in this object. So let's just call it like app name 1. And then inside of that, hey Metallic, how's it going? And then inside of that, I have this string, right? And let's just say it's like an empty a JSON string right now. JSON stringified empty object, right? So what this is going to do, if we're setting this, so say we have this set command, and we're setting app data, app name equal to this, what I believe Mongo does is it is going to overwrite all of the children of app data with this object. So it doesn't extend the data, it overwrites it. So there's two ways around this. One is I could get all of the app data, from the user before setting it, right? So I could get all of the thing I want to extend, and then I could extend it manually myself using some deep extend function. And then I could resave it, right? And so then if I'm resaving it to app data, then it doesn't matter that it's overwriting it because I've already extended it. Now the other way to do it, which I think is a nicer way to do it, but slightly, I don't know, slightly more opaque or something. I don't know. It's like not as easy to think about in some ways, but it's simple. It's just this, right? So this is going to say, don't overwrite app data. This is going to say just overwrite this nested key. So this is a special syntax by Mongo that says, hey, if you give us a key name that has a period in it, that means that that's a nested key. And so we want to set appdata.appname1, and we want to set that to a new value. So you can overwrite that entire value. But don't overwrite anything inside of app data. We're just setting this key. We're not setting anything at a higher level. So as you can see, that's not what I'm doing here. So let's see, how do I handle that here? Okay. So okay, so I think what I can do, I think what I want to do is, let's grab this and let's put it here. And I want this to be an object, and I want it to start with app data, and then a period, and then the app name. So let's see, app data, period. Now, I think I don't know if this is valid object syntax. So let's look at this. So if I create an object and I'm like, I want the key to be, b plus 1 colon. I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, but what I would expect this to do is to create an object that is like this. But you can't have a sub-expression, I guess, in the key area. Okay, so I guess what I can do instead is say, okay, update command is going to be equal to an empty object. And then I'm going to say update command $set is, and then app data, and here I can have an expression. So I'm going to do plus app name, and then I'm going to do JSON stringify existing data. Okay, so that should work except for one thing. So when I go into this nested level right here, that's going to be set to undefined, right? So when I get this, right, which is what I'm doing here, I'm getting a key called $set inside of this object. When I do this, it's going to give me undefined. And then I'm going to try to set this on undefined. So that's not going to work. So what I need to do is say $set and then equals an empty object. And now I can access this because it's going to be this empty object. Hey, Commander Root, how's it going? What are you up to today? And then I can set this as a key inside of this empty object. Okay, so this should be my update command now, and I can pass that here. And now we should be doing what I thought we were doing yesterday, which is extending the app data instead of overwriting it. So in order to test this out, I'm going to have to actually create a new user. So actually, let me just drop this whole database because I have a lot of users in here that don't have the right data anyways. And I'm going to just restart the app, and we should be good to go here. And now I'll just click sign up, and I'll do like John Doe 1, and the password is going to be John Doe 1 2, and then sign up, and then boom, we've got this. So now let's check our database. Let's refresh our databases, go into Remake Apps, go into Users. So we have John Doe, we have app data. So now this is the same as what we had before. We have the default data because this is automatically going to be created for us. We have the shared data because we just loaded this home page, which is in like a shared app namespace. And then task fellow, which is Bootstrap data. Hey, Celesrina, how do you prepare for an online tech assessment test? Well, I haven't taken a lot of online tech assessment tests, but I have taken like programming quizzes and tests. So, I mean, first of all, you have to know what it's about. And then it's for an interview. Oh, okay, I have done those. With 2 full stacks, I have to impress. You're scared. That is perfectly natural. So yeah, I've done a lot of assessments. I've failed a lot of assessments. Some of them are super, super difficult, and some of them are easier and more manageable. I imagine you're doing them live because you said you have to impress the devs. So if you're doing them live, I'd say the most important thing, the thing I look for, is for someone to be honest. So if you don't know something, say you don't know it. If you would Google something, say you would Google it and ask them if that's okay. If they're like not okay with you Googling stuff, I think that's kind of crazy. Because I think even the top engineers Google stuff all the time. And yeah, just be honest and upfront. And I mean, I imagine if you're interviewing for this company, you know how to code, so just do what you already know how to do. I'd say if there, do you know the topic of the exam? Hey, CM Griffing, how's it going? Um, if you know the topic, you could totally build something for them. You are a front end dev, and the position is full stack. Hmm. Hey, JD Hirsch, how's it going? So, I mean, Celisrina, you've sent them your interview. You've sent them your resume, right? So they know you're a front end dev. I think if it's a good company, and there are a lot of good companies out there. Um, oh, nice, a raid. Hey, Oblivion Air. Thank you guys for raiding. That's awesome. Um, so, yeah, if you know, so hey, FD God 92. So Celisrina, if you know, if they're a good company, they're going to be willing to train you in the backend stuff. They're not going to expect you to know that. So if they give you like a few backend questions, feel free to just say, I don't really know the answer to this. I would look it up, but here's where I would start exploring, or here's what I know about this topic so far. Like if they give you a MySQL question and you don't know anything about MySQL, then just, say, I don't really know about MySQL, but I do know this much, and here's where I would start, and here's the general approach I would use. Because that's a lot of what they're looking for if they're a good team, is just what's your mindset, what's your general approach. Yeah, I think that's fine too. I mean, if um, a lot of front end developers aren't really great at algorithms. They don't really care about algorithms. They care more about the user experience. And if they're hiring you, they probably care that you care about the user experience, and they're more interested in you for that than for anything else. There's all kinds of full stack devs. Some are more focused on the front end, and some are more focused on the back end. I'm a lot more focused on the front end, so I care a lot more about doing interviews with users. Wow, there's a lot of new people. Hey guys. Woo. I caps locked by accident. Oh no. That's awesome. Wow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so that would be my advice is, but do you know the topic? Yeah, this is exciting. Okay, I'm gonna have to get to building an app very soon. Um, you don't know the topic. Do you know what the company does? Because that could that could give you kind of an idea. Um, okay, so let's see. I want to get to. Um, they make an app where you can order food and you pick it up. Okay, that's cool. So, um, one thing I did. Is this your? This isn't your first job, is it? One thing I did before my first startup job is I redesigned their app. Even though I'd never seen it before, I redesigned their web app how I would want it to be. And they were really impressed with that. Like I, uh, I stayed up all night pretty much and redesigned it, and then I showed it to them at the very end of the interview. So the interview went really well, and then at the end I was like, oh, by the way, I redesigned your app. Here it is, and I actually gave them a printout of the app I had designed. But then I also gave them like the web address, and they could go and see, it was responsive and it worked well and stuff. So that's something you might want to think about. I mean, especially if you've seen their app, you could like use some things you've picked up over the years to improve it. And then, uh, and then, yeah. Uh, I mean, if your strength is design, then you could still. Oh, okay. Well, maybe take a crack at it. I mean, even just an outline of, where you would put things, even just in like something like Balsamic, wireframing software, you could just like, put together a basic thing where you'd be like, I put this over here, put that over there. Here's what the information architecture would look like. I mean, it all depends on your strength. What you really want to leave them with is an impression of what you'd excel at and where you'd excel. Because like, it doesn't matter if they're hiring, a database engineer. All startups need, like if, like for example, if they're looking for you to be mostly focused on the back end and the database, but you come in and you show them that you're amazing at designing and like organizing the information architecture or architecting the front end, then they're going to at least consider hiring you for that, because every startup, is, um, struggling at least a little bit in every department. I mean, that's the definition of a startup, is they're kind of, overbooked with work. Okay, so to get back to this, I now have the ability inside of this example, like Remake's app thing, to have multiple applications, and this is the first one. And I just wanted to test if I reorder some of these things, create a new one, is it going to overwrite the data that I already had? So you can see the data is saving, because if I refresh it, we get a new item here, and we can rename it, and again, refresh it. But in the database, what does that look like? So if we go into the app data, we're going to see that it's still extended. So we have three different apps here. We have the default app, we have this shared app, and then we have TaskFellow. So it's not overwriting the data like it was just a few seconds ago before I got all these new visitors. Welcome, guys. If you guys have any questions or anything you want to ask about, let me know. I'm going to be mostly working on a custom Remake.js application today. If you're curious about what Remake.js is, it's an early stage framework. If you go to remakejs.com, you can see the source code of the framework, as well as what it is, and see an example to-dos app and try out the examples to-do app if you want. You can also message me on Twitter if you have any feedback about it. Look at the annotated source code for a simple to-dos app. But it's very, very simple to build a new application that has the ability to edit data, add data, delete data, and remove data. And it all comes for free out of the box with the framework. All you have to do is attach a few data attributes. So it's a pretty fast way to build a web application. I'm pretty excited about it. And it's based on a lot of experience that I've had building web apps over the past 8 to 10 years. I guess it's been, it's been like 9 years, I guess. 11 years if you count CSS and HTML as building web apps, which I guess it's not really. You kind of need that coding stuff too. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is add a new application to this. Okay, so we have this apps folder, and we have, at the top level, we have shared, and this shared directory is just for like the home page, the login page, the sign up page, the header and the footer partials, so we can just ignore that for now. Then we have TaskFellow, which you just saw. That's this app, and it has the home page for the TaskFellow app, and then it has some partials, so it has the stack and the tack. And this is a stack, this column, and then each of these items is a tack. My stream encouraged me to name them like that. Please don't blame me for that. Okay, so we're going to create a new folder for a new app, and this is going to have its own kind of like namespaced data. So we're going to call this Adventure Story. And we already have kind of like the basic code. Well, not like a lot of it, but we have at least a little bit of the basic code for this adventure story. And I'm also going to grab this other library called Special Deep Extend, because we're going to need that pretty soon. Okay, so if we go into Adventure Story and go into templates, which is how the apps used to be organized, and go into pages. We have this home page. Okay, so let's grab this. We're just going to grab all of that, and we're going to put it inside of this adventure story thing. And we're going to call the template adventure story.njk. We'll paste this in there. And I need to make these partial templates relative to something else. Yeah, so because they're in new locations. So I'm going to just put it like that, and then footer. Okay, so now we have the header and the footer, and then we have the app. These are the special data attributes that are responsible for serializing and saving the data. And then we have this story partial. And again, we're going to have to include that in a slightly different way. And we don't even have that story partial in here yet, but I'll just copy and paste it in here soon. So it's called Adventure Story. I almost did Adventure Pack. So it's going to be Adventure Story and then partials. And then we're just going to call that story. And then we're going to say, if the user is not logged in, we're going to say, welcome to Adventure Story. Hello, player. Do you want to play a game? And we got this from Saw. User in the stream suggested that we use this. This phrasing, so that's cool. And we're gonna create a folder called partials in here and create a partial called story.njk, and then we're gonna grab that story njk from here. Okay. And we're going to paste that in here. And then there's one more thing we have to do, or a few more things actually that we have to do. So we're going to have story.json. So this, when you create a new story in this app, it's going to start out with some data. And that data is in a JSON file that's next to it. We don't actually have any starting data for it in the original app, so that's not very helpful. And then we have one more thing, which is story choice. And we do have data for that. Okay, so let's go back up to partials. Let's create story choice.njk. We're going to paste this in there, and then we're going to have another story choice.json. Okay, so now we have the starting data for this, and we're going to grab it from here. Okay, cool. So now we need to link all of this together in a way that makes sense to it. So we're including this story partial here, which I think we're linking to correctly. However, in here, we're not linking to this correctly. So story choice needs to be from the route. So this top level apps directory is where it's looking for the views. So the first thing we're going to do is go into adventure story, because that's the directory of the app. And then we're going to go into partials. And then we're going to go into story-choice.njk. Hey, Smelly Orc. Hey, Aziz Light. Hey, CC Cup, CC Up, I don't know how you pronounce it. Okay, so we're going to include that story choice there. And sorry, it's been a little while since I've worked on this application, so I'm a little bit, I need to still figure things out a little bit. Okay, so let's just see if this page loads. I'm imagining that it's not going to load. So let's just go to /adventure story, and that's how, oh nice, it did load. Woohoo, that's awesome. Okay, so if we go to /adventure-story, how does it know to load this template? It's just because we have some code that says match the route against the name of the template. And that doesn't work for partials, it only works for top level pages. So it's only going to work for like task fellow out here, and then in shared, it's only going to work for home, login, and sign up. And if you name something home, that's going to default to the root path. So that's just like a, the home path, right? Right? So that's going to render the home template. Okay, so great. We have this adventure story situation going on, and we're rendering each story. Unfortunately, if we look in our database, we're not going to have any data associated with adventure story. All we have is this object with an ID in it, which isn't very helpful. We don't have any stories to loop over or anything like that. So we could bootstrap the app with stories, and I think that's a pretty good idea, actually. So we have this way of bootstrapping the initial app data. So we could do that, or we could kind of like work from scratch and like build up the stories. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna build up the data piece by piece. Okay, so let's see. So we have these 4 divs right here and 1 anchor tag. So this looks like a lot of code, right? But it's really just like 5 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's only 4 elements. 2, 3, 4. It's only 4 elements, but there's a lot of data attributes, and the data attributes kind of control how the code is being laid out. So this is the story template, right? So let me give you an idea of kind of what we're building here. So if I go into Sketch and I open up Adventure Story, this is what we're looking to build today within the next couple hours. So we're going to have this page right over here on the left, and there's going to be some text, and then there's going to be some choices. And if you're an admin, you can edit those choices, or you can create a new choice. And then if you click on one of those choices, you're going to go to the next part of the story. And the next part of the story is going to have a back button. It's going to say which choice you chose, and then it's going to have a continuation of the story, and then some more choices. And again, you can create a new choice, or you could edit each choice. So it's a pretty simple interface. There's not like a ton going on here. But it's a little complicated to think about, because it's like, okay, do we use the same template for both of these? Because we could use this, like this could be the story template, and it could just hide, these elements, and then this could be the same story template, right? I think that's the right way to do it, and that's what we decided to do earlier on. So let's go with that assumption for now. So we have the story template, and we're not like looping through the stories or anything. We're just showing a single story. And I'm curious. Okay, yeah. So we're including this whether or not we have data in the database. Okay, so I also need to look up the data model that I wanted to use for this. So we have adventure story here, and I think it's story data right here. Let's see, did anyone say anything? So yeah, so this is how I'm imagining the data is going to be laid out. You're going to have the story text, and then you're going to have some choices, and each of these choices is going to represent an additional story. And then, so each of these choices is going to have a choice text, and then the text of the story. So the choice text is the choice that's shown in the parent story, right? So it's like, it's this right here, right? Go inside or run away, right? And then the text of the story is, once you click on that choice, it's what you see as kind of the main story text. and then it's going to have sub-choices. So it's pretty simple how it's laid out. Okay, so, and then we can have like infinitely nested choices and stories. And, you know, some stories might just have one choice and some stories might have more than one choice. Okay, so we include this story and then I'm gonna get rid of that for now because I don't really want that. So in case you're curious about like how Remake works, it works by serializing all of the data on the page, and then automatically syncing it with the database. So the idea is that your DOM nodes always match up to like elements of data, like key value pairs, and that data can be serialized. And all that means is that you're extracting the data from the DOM, and also the way you nest your elements is roughly corresponds to how the data is nested on the back end. So for example, if you wanted to create, you know, an object inside of an object inside of an object, that's pretty easy if you just nest an element inside of an element inside of an element. And that's how Remake works, is just, you know, data is the elements on the page, and the elements on the page represent the data. So this, for example, this top level div, this single command of data or attribute, this single attribute of data O type equals object, the O stands for output. So this data output object, output type object means that we're going to have this, we're going to have an object. This top level element represents an empty object. Now we're going to attach some key value pairs to it. This is the first key value pair, and then this is the second key value pair. And everything after this first part, the data O key, is the key. So for this one it's ID, for this one it's text, and then we're just setting it to equal some stuff that's coming from the database. Yeah. Okay, so, Okay, so actually I think, yeah, so that's all you need to know, right? So, well, for now at least. So this top level element, I'm going to just write some code, some JavaScript code here, even though it doesn't belong here, just to show you like what it represents. So it might represent this, ID equals that, and then text equals, you know, hello there. So that's what this element could possibly represent. And then inside of this element, we have the ability to edit the text that's on the top level element, and then we have the ability to have a list, an array inside of the element, and this array has some more stories inside of it. So I think the first thing I want to do is have the ability to create a new story, right? Because I think, I'm trying to think like what should be at the top level, right? Because right now this isn't, let me see, right now, and if you guys have any questions at all, please let me know, because I will, like if you're curious about this framework or how it works or what some data attribute, you know, why it's being used or what it does, let me know. I'm more than happy to explain. I've explained it before, but and you can find it in the documentation, but I would also be willing to explain it on stream too. Yeah, absolutely. And if you even have unrelated questions about JavaScript or CSS or anything like that, let me know. Run them by me and I'll try to answer them too. Okay, so we have this story element, but it doesn't represent any data. It does have an ID though for some reason, and I think it's just setting itself equal to the top level data. My favorite color. I think my favorite color right now is roughly like this color, this pink. I don't know why. I just kind of like it right now. Okay, just playing. So yeah, so we have ID equal to that. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good color. I use it on on the Artistify logo. So if you go to like artistify.com, right here, it's like similar to this color. I don't know, something about it just feels like strong, but also fun. I don't know. Okay, so the top level data has an ID, and that's what this this story is picking up on, but it's not really its own ID. So I think I need a, oh yeah, T-Mobile uses something close. That's interesting. I'm in line with the modern branding practices of big companies. No, that's cool. I like T-Mobile actually. I've never had them, but I think that they're really cool. Yeah, there must be something right about it. Um, okay, so basically, I don't want to be including this story unless there's a story here. And I think on the home page, what I would prefer is to show the top level story. Oh, merging with Sprint. That's interesting. Um, so I think at the top level, the data is going to look like this, right? I guess I could nest it and I could say, like the top level could just be like story or something. Like it could be like this, and then we could have, you know, this stuff nested inside of it. And we could call this like the first story or the original story or like top level story. I don't know if that's super helpful. I guess it is kind of, right? Because we need some way to tell. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with that for now. I think, I don't know, I'm going to just follow my intuition and start building something, right? Um, okay, so the first thing we want to do is just say, you know, do we have a top level story or not? So at the top, we're just going to say if, wait, how do we do this again? um, I'm just curious about how the data comes in. I think it's on data top level thing. Yeah, it comes in as data. Okay, so we're going to say if data.top level story, and we might not need this later, but we're just going to go with it for now. So then we're just going to say like has a story, and then we're going to do an else, and then we're going to say div no story yet. And we're going to do end if. Okay, so now if we refresh this page, it should just say like no story yet. Okay, so now we need a way to create a story. So we're going to create an anchor tag, and we're going to say class is button, and button primary, and we don't need button large, that's fine. And actually, we could just have this be a regular button. And then we're going to close that off. And in here, we're going to just say like new story. Okay, and let's put these attributes, so the class attribute on a new line, so that we can add some data attributes to this. So we're going to say data I new, and most of you probably don't know what this does, but basically it allows us to create a new item and add it to the DOM somewhere, pretty much wherever we want it to be. And we do that by referencing the name of a partial on the back end, and it's going to grab that partial from the app we're currently in. So it's going to be inside of this partials folder. So if we wanted to add a story, for example, we just write story, and it's going to render this partial along with the data that's named after it, and then insert it wherever we want it to be inserted. Okay, so I'm going to just put app here. This isn't, I mean, it's just going to insert it inside of here. And that's fine for now. That's not really how it should be, and that's not how this is kind of meant to be used. But that's fine for now. So let's do that and just see if it works. Wait, what do I do here? Okay. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, we've got new story. We click that. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Okay, so oh, I think I know what happened. I think maybe it did insert it. Nope, it didn't insert it. Okay, so let's see what it did in the network tab. It didn't even trigger a call. So that's a little weird. Let's see. Okay. So if I go into task fellow, so this is the same thing I'm doing here. I'm doing data I knew. I guess let's look at what is Remake doing with the new element. So click this, it gets this. Where does it does the Ajax post. Gets the selector, the closest selector. Yeah, I mean, I think it should work actually. And let's see, if I go to here, yeah, it's definitely, I think it's got everything that it needs. Let's see, maybe if I put like a class instead, I don't think that should matter at all, but let's just try it. You never know, like if you change some random thing, if it's going to help, you know, for some unrelated reason. So that didn't work either, and it's not triggering a network request, right? Because that would be at the bottom here. That's very weird to me. So, I mean, this is a case of just Remake.js not working, not showing any errors about not working. I don't know. I mean, all I can think is maybe like the event listener isn't triggering. I guess let's just make sure. I guess that's like the first step, right? Maybe the event listener isn't triggering. So let's put in like a console log here. And let's see. Did we get a console log? So let's restart the app. Sometimes I need to relink Remake.js. So let's see. Maybe that's it. So we should be linked to the latest. Huh. Okay. So we're in Remake.js. I guess we could just do the npm link here. And then we're going to just make sure it's linked to the right one. Yeah, I mean, it's saying the same thing it was before. Then we're going to run dev. Oh, I know. Yeah, I know what happened. Okay, so it's because it's not watching the node modules folder. Or no, this is it. This is it. This is what's happening. It's because I'm not watching for changes. Okay, so let's do that. There we go. Okay, so now we're compiling it. What? Just work, please. Oh my goodness. Hey, Flipcoder, how's it going? How's it been going? I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so it's rebuilding the bundle. Okay, I think I need to change the app code. Like I need to change some front-end JavaScript code over here just so that it recompiles over here, I guess. Yeah, what have you been busy about? You working on something? It's coming along pretty good. Oh, you've been traveling and camping. That's awesome. That's really exciting. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I now have the ability to have multiple apps inside of Remake. So each with their own namespace. So like we could have TaskFellow, and then next to this we could have to-dos, and then we could have another app. And right now we're in the process of adding Adventure Story to its own namespace. Sorry about that. Okay, so it looks like we're getting what? Oh, am I just not including any of the JavaScript on this page? Is that true? That would make me so happy, actually. Like if the solution was that simple. It's that simple. I'm just not including any of the JavaScript on this page. So that's why the console logs weren't coming through. Isn't that embarrassing, but also wonderful? Because it means like the library is not broken, right? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I love it when solutions are simple. Okay, so let's put app back here, and let's see. So it must be including the head, right? Yeah, because we're getting all this. Oh, it's because I am like the biggest idiot. Oops, sorry. Oh. Sorry about that. Hope that wasn't too loud. I tried to hold the mic away. So I include the JavaScript like an idiot right here, instead of putting it in the footer. So let's address that immediately and just put it in the footer. So I'm going to put it here. And now it should be included on all the pages automatically, so I don't have to remember to copy and paste it. Okay, great. So now we'll refresh this, click new story, boom, we got it. We got new story. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is the right way to do it because we also have this area here that says like no story yet. Oh, I guess we don't really need that, right? But I guess, okay, so what I'm wondering now is like, how do I, um, so this is an issue kind of with the fundamentals of Remake because right now I Remake is organized so that it's meant to work with like top level data that's kind of like already on the page, and then lists of data to which you can add new items. Um, and you can start the list with no items, but there's no real way to, like, when the list has no items, to say that it's empty, right? You kind of have to keep track of that separately, which is fine. I mean, but it's meant to work with a list of items, and adding, when you add new items, it kind of assumes it's in a list. But right now, what we have is a top level. What we have is data that's organized as objects and nested objects. And so the top level item isn't a list item, it's just a regular object. So, hey, sit phone Ning, how's it going? What are you working on? What are you thinking about? What do you want to learn about? So yeah, we have a top level item that's an object, and we need a way to create that item. And I have this ability to create it, right? So it's not really that bad that, so far I've assumed that it's going to be part of a list because we still are able to create it even though it's not a list item. But because we've always assumed that it's kind of a list item, we've assumed that like the rest of the page is kind of built out, right? And that we're not going to need to have like an empty state. So I guess what I could do here, it's actually pretty simple. We could just have a separate property that says um, whether you have uh, I mean, so what I would prefer to do is not even have this new story button. I would prefer to just have like a top level object that's already there without having to bootstrap that object to be there. Although I'm not sure why I'm so against bootstrapping it, because we have that ability. Yeah, why not just bootstrap it, right? Okay, so let's get rid of all of this stuff, right? Um, and let's include hey Nate Native Cod. We are building a Remake.js application. It's going to look like this. So it's basically like a multi-choice adventure where you have like a story, and then you have multiple choices, and you can edit those choices or add a new choice. And then if you click on one of those choices, you go into like a nested part of the story that is determined on your previous choice. And again, you have the same kind of layout, but you can go back or see the choice that you made. And we're doing this we're building this with Remake.js, and we're kind of testing the limits of this custom framework that I built to see if we can pull off this type of app, even though it wasn't Remake kind of wasn't designed to work with this kind of app. I think it should be good for this kind of app, so I'm kind of, testing it out and seeing if it can handle this. But we're making changes along the way, as as we realize where Remake is falling short. But I think we're pretty close to being able to pull this off, actually. Okay, so in our data folder, we have the ability to kind of bootstrap an application with some starting data. So the name of our application right now is Adventure Story. So we're going to just have this top level key called Adventure Story, and then a top level object. And then we're going to have top level story. I don't know, I might rename this later, and again, we might this might not even be necessary. But then we're going to have like this. Okay, so let's try that. And let's get rid of these like deeply nested ones for now. We can just have just like 2 choices at the top level, that's fine. And we don't need any nested choices here. And we can wrap these in double quotes so that it's valid JSON. Okay, so this should give us kind of the like a starting place, I think. And I'm really not sure about this. I think we might not need it. Let's leave it for now, though. Okay, so we're going to say if data.topLevelStory, then we're going to include this story template. So we're going to do include, I think this is, yeah, this is the syntax for it. So we're going to do include, and then we're going to do partials. Oh no, wait. We need to do the full path. So we need to do adventure story, because that's under apps, right? So it's going to be adventure story, and then partials, and then story.njk. And inside of this partial, so let me just get rid of all this other stuff. So inside of this partial, we have this template. And this has the choices and it has the top level story. And I think what I want to do is before we render this, I think I want to say, oops, current, I want to set current item to data.topLevelStory. And then in here, I think I want to do current item.id, current item.text. This will edit it, and then we have the list. And then I think we want current item.choices. And then we have the choices. Okay, so let's see what this does. I'm expecting to probably run into an error. Actually, no, we're not going to get anything. And the reason we don't get anything is because we're bootstrapping the data, but this data is only bootstrapped when we create a new user. So it's not going to be for the current user. So we need to create a John Doe 2, and that'll give us the data we need. And then we're going to go to adventure story. Boom. Nice. So now we have 2 stories, and we have this text thing, which is loading inside of here, right? So like if we go to edit it, you can see that the text is showing up, but the it's not rendering inside of the inner text. Oh, and it's because I didn't do current item.text. Okay, great. Okay, so now we have, there's a dark cave. Do you go inside to explore or run away? And then we have go inside and run away, and we have new choice. Okay, cool. So there's a few things here that I'd like to fix. I'm not really super concerned about the styling. It's pretty low. I've run into trouble with with the things like freezing or not. So someone asked me what bitrate and resolution am I streaming at, and people were complaining about it earlier, so I lowered it a lot. But the bitrate is 1500, and the what did you ask? What was the other thing? Resolution. Resolution, I think is scaled down to pretty low. If you're having trouble seeing the page, let me know. Or you know, I don't know. Let me know if there's problems. I kind of feel bad with how low I have to stream, but I think my computer, I'm on a 2015 MacBook Pro. I don't think it can handle streaming at a higher resolution, unfortunately. And I don't think it's a bandwidth problem. I think it's a okay, it's good. So Nate says it's good. Yeah, maybe maybe Waka is on a higher resolution monitor. Okay, nice, nice. Okay, so I want to add these choices to a list. And I want to make the new choice thing a button. So I'm going to say button here. And class block. Oh, that's just going to make it display block. I don't know. That's not really necessary. I think I'm going to do button button dash primary. We can get rid of the href. Okay, cool. And then for the choices, we want to have a list. So we're going to do ul, and then for each choice, so let's go into the choice template, we're going to wrap this inside of an li. So I'll have an li, and then the anchor tag, and that should be good. So now let's see if this looks a tiny bit better. Nice. Okay. So it's not like great. This isn't like an amazing thing quite yet, but it looks a lot better than it did before. And if we go to edit this, so we say there's a dark cave exclamation point, and we save that, that's going to save. And if we refresh, it's going to save it. And now I think what I just did is I overwrote some of the data. So let's see if that's true. So let's compare the starting data to the current data. So if we go into temp data right here, and we look at our current users data, this is what we have. Oh, so this is interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so we started off with this like top level data. Inside of Adventure Story, we have top level story, and then we have the text and the choices. And then now what we have is top level story, but then we also have at the top level of the object an ID that is the same with the new data, which is unfortunate because I didn't think that's how it would work. So this is definitely a bug. It's either a bug or I'm writing the code wrong. Because what I think oh, okay, so I know what's happening. So yeah, I think I'm writing the code wrong. So right now, if we look at our save attributes on Adventure Story, in Story, and in Story Choice, we only have one save attribute, which is at the top level. So this is just going to save the entire page. It's going to serialize and save the entire page. And so if we look at the data on the whole page, so we do document get element by ID app, we're going to get this, right? So we've got the top level ID, we've got the choices that are in a list, and then we've got the text, right? And so it's just trying to save that to the top level, and that's why we're ending up with this kind of extra object at the top level. So this is kind of like when you unzip a zip file And then instead of it unzipping it into a folder, like like you would expect or like you would want it to, instead it just unzips all of the contents into your your downloads folder, and you have to like figure out which files belong to the zip and which don't, and it's like super annoying, especially if it's a really big zip file. Yeah. um, yeah, Fliploader says they hate that too. So what we need to do here is actually save to an ID instead of saving to the top level save function. And luckily we have the ability to do that now. So right here, I think in this story, what we can do is do data o save deep. And what the regular save does is it's just going to serialize the data on the current element. Save deep will serialize the data on all the child elements too. So we're going to do save deep, and then we could say default save right here. And all that does is pass the data to an endpoint that's just /save. But that's actually the default, right? So we don't even need to write that. And we can just say ID equal to, and then we can use our interpolation syntax, and we can say current item dot ID. And I just thought of something. We actually in the future might be able to just say like save to ID or like save to current ID or something, and then it'll just grab the ID off of the current element. I think that's a pretty good idea. But for right now, we have to interpolate it in here. Okay, so now if we, let's see, let's save this page. So if we refresh this, we're not going to get the exclamation point. But if we put the exclamation point here and then save it and then refresh, we do get the exclamation point. And now we can see on the back end, on the data, we have an exclamation point in both. And now if we create a new user, so let's, I should have just like a list of users, but let's create a new user called Butterfly. And we're going to go back to our adventure story. Now we can see if we go into Butterfly's data, they're going to have the Bootstrap data for adventure story, right? But it's only going to be one level, right? So if we go into yeah, we don't have the demo data here because we haven't saved it yet. But if I say there was a growl, right? And we save it. Now if I look inside the data, it's only going to have the top level data. It's not going to do that zip file thing because we're saving to an ID. And the ID we're saving to is this ID right here. So it's actually going to look through all of what saving to an ID does is it looks through all of the data and then it tries to match on an ID and save to that ID instead of saving to the top level. And we can see that ID by if we go in here and we go to the story and we see wait, what? Oh, it's saving to this ID. It's not saving to this ID. It's saving to this ID. Because see, this is the actual story. If it was saving to this ID, it would be at the top level. But it's saving to this ID, which is what we want. So yeah, so we got that JV1P6, and so it's extending that object instead. Okay, and if we look at the starting data, so this is where we kind of run into a little bit of trouble with this, because look at the starting data. So we have the top level story, and then we have the text for the top level story, and that's fine, right? We're showing that. And then we have the choices, and each choice has choice text. But the entire idea behind this application is that if you click inside of a choice option, you're going to see its text. So each choice needs to maintain its text no matter what. So like if I click into here, I want to show you went into a dark cave. But if you look at the actual data that this user has right now, they do not have text for their story, right? They just have the choice text and they got this auto-generated ID, but they no longer have their own text. And you might wonder, well, why not? What happened with that? Well, if we look at the page and you look at the data on the page, this choice has choice text, right? So it has the go inside thing, but it doesn't have the story text assigned to it. Now we could just add the story text to it, but it doesn't make sense in this circumstance. I mean, if we did add the story text to it, it would be saved. But then what about all of its nested data? What about its nested stories and its nested things, right? That wouldn't be saved either. That would be overwritten. So the idea here is that we want to be able to have some top level data, some data at like a higher level, that when we save that data, it's not going to overwrite all of the nested data. And that was actually kind of hard to do. But I wrote this function over the past like week and a half or week. It didn't take me that long, but it took me a good amount of time actually. But I'm really, really proud of it. And I wrote some tests for it, which I don't actually very often do. But you can see like I have brainstorm 1, I have brainstorm 2. I wrote like a long document on this. And I finally, and I actually wrote all of this code. So like I wrote all of this code and then I threw it all out. So this is like the old code. I can actually like rename this to old instead of backup. And then I finally settled on this, which is actually like pretty simple code. I'm pretty proud of it. It definitely feels pretty good to me. So, and I've tested it. I did like a few basic tests. So I have like these test source objects, and I have these test target objects, and then I have the test expected outputs, and then I show whether each one passed or not. And so if we go in here and we open this up, we should see 4 pass tests. And so it's just, and then you get the stringified results. Now they're not like super in-depth tests, and I actually kind of wish I had more tests, but I think this is enough for me to be confident that this is going to work for now. And if we run into problems, you know, I'll rebuild this. But I feel like if we test it with this live application and it works, that's going to be one of the best tests, you know, for this. But yeah, in the future, I would like to write more tests. Do I know? So King Siller says, do I know Vue.js? I use Vue.js at work. I'm on vacation from work right now, but I go back to work next week. And I actually brought Vue.js in because I thought it was a great library. And we've been using it and transitioning to it over the past 6 to 8 months. I'm not an expert in it, but I do know, I think, a lot more than like a beginner. I think I'm past the beginner stage. I'm kind of at the intermediate stage. I really like Vue.js. I used Knockout.js back in the day, and I think Vue.js is a lot better than Knockout, but it also borrows a lot of stuff from Knockout, in my opinion. And I mean, Knockout was like super fast for building stuff, but then it got really complicated with larger applications. I think Vue.js doesn't have the same problems, but it is a little bit confusing. One thing that I ran into with Vue.js is if you pass in objects as props into subcomponents, it actually, like if you modify those objects in the subcomponents, it doesn't complain because it can't actually tell that you're modifying those objects directly. But it's not a best practice. And if you try doing that with like regular props, like you pass in like a number or a string, it's not going to let you edit the prop, obviously. And it'll give you a warning saying, you know, like don't like edit this at the top level or whatever. And so that's a problem I ran into that I just kind of only just like a month and a half ago kind of realized how to do it differently. But that was a big stumbling block for me. But if you're interested in that or you're interested in Vue.js, I can point you through to some resources on that if you want. Okay, so we've got this special deep extend library. I'm going to just copy all of this and I'm going to bring it into our Remake app. And I want to release this special deep extend thing as its own package, but for now, I'm not going to do that. Because I don't feel confident enough that it's ready for release. Okay, so now we've got special deep extend, and we need to change fundamentally how our saving of data works. So you can see here in our save function, we're doing something pretty simple. I know this code might seem like a lot, but it's actually not really doing too many things. Basically, we get some data coming in. We get a namespace for where to save it to. We get the existing data that the user has. And then basically, you know, there's a few different ways to save things. One is we pass in a path. So if we pass in a path, we're going to save to that path instead of saving to the top level object. Else we save to an ID, which is what we just saw, right? We pass an ID and then it's going to find that ID, that item with that ID, and then it's going to deep extend that item. So that's pretty useful. And then the default is if it's an array, just replace that array. Otherwise, if it's an object, just deep extend that object. So basically, there's a few different ways of saving, but when it comes down to it, what we're doing is if it's an object, we're deep extending it. And the problem we're running into right now is that deep extend, or I mean really extend in general, doesn't really know what to do with arrays. So if you have two objects, right, and you have A is equal to 1, 2, 3, and then A is equal to 3, 4, 5, and you say, and say this object is set to, I don't know, A, and this object is set to B, and you say extend, or even deep extend, right? So if you do deep extend A with B, how is it going to handle these nested arrays? Normally, you know, an extend or a deep extend library doesn't know what to do with them. If the elements of the array are objects with IDs, you might be able to resolve it. Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm doing with this new library, actually, that I wrote. But so just to go through this real quick. So like, what would you expect to happen? Would you expect the output to be, you know, you preserve these items? So maybe it would return, you know, an object with A, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5. Or would you expect it to overwrite them? What should happen? And just like Flipcoder just said, if the elements of the arrays are objects with IDs, you might be able to resolve it. And so that's what I plan on doing, is since all of the objects in Remake automatically get assigned unique IDs, what I'm doing is I'm saying in the second array, right? So if these are all objects with IDs, and these are all objects with IDs, then I'm going to preserve as much data as I can. And I'm going to overwrite the data, right? So I go with this second solution, right, where, you know, the elements, the objects with IDs that are missing from the second object, they're going to be gone. So this object with ID 1 and this object with ID 2, they're just gone. I think ideally, in the long term, it'd be great if they stuck around and you explicitly had to delete them or whatever. But for now, it's just too much trouble to ask users to understand that or to do that. So what I'm saying is, hey, if your page, now has, new elements, right, in that array, and it got rid of those old elements, then those elements are gone. They're bye-bye, right? But if you have nested elements that are, that are in an existing elements array, then those will be preserved. So for example, here with this ID equals 3, if this has like a hugely nested object, right? So let's just say, we have an, X set to an object, set to B, set to an object, set to C, set to an object, then what's going to happen when this is extended is the final result is going to look exactly like B, except you're going to get all of this nested stuff here too. So you're going to get this for ID 3. So you're going to preserve all of the data. Now, of course, if A has its own, X, right? So say it has its own X set to an empty object, what's going to happen there, right? Because now it has its own empty object. Well, this object is actually going to be extended with this object. So we're only going to lose data if, this is, this also has like a B, right? So if this also has a B, and then that B is set to like, say, 2, right? Then we're going to just totally lose this nested object, right? And then this is going to be set to 2. But otherwise, if the object keys don't overlap, they're going to be extended. And any IDs that are in the second object are always going to be preserved and extended. So as much as possible, we're saving as much data as possible. And that's what this code does. And I can actually, if you, I don't know if anyone's interested in it, but if anyone wants to look over this code, maybe test it out themselves, write their own, code around it, I'm going to create this public gist, and I will share it with chat. Okay, so let's see if it works, right? So instead of our default extend, which doesn't know how to deal with nested arrays, right? So you can see every time we have deep extend here, so 1, 2, 3, these 3 spots, it doesn't know how to deal with nested arrays. Instead of using deep extend here, we want to use our special deep extend library, which will take into consideration that there are IDs. But here's the thing. We do want to, so there are a few remake options, okay? So if we go into remake options, we have these 2 options, auto-generate unique IDs and write app data to temp files. And I can actually document these a little bit right now. So this will attach a unique ID to every object in your data. And then this will generate a JSON file, a nicely formatted JSON file representing each user's data in the temp data directory. Okay, so auto-generate unique IDs, if that's set to false, we actually don't want to use our special deep extend because it's actually much worse than the regular deep extend in that circumstance, because well, maybe it's not much worse, but I don't think it helps. I'm actually not sure what this does if there aren't any IDs. I didn't really test it with that. How does deep extend differ from object assign? So object assign will extend the top level of an object, but it will not extend deeper levels. So if you have an object A, B, C, and then you have another object. Or let's have an example. So a better example. So if you have Z1 and Z2, so and then this one, so this is a source, and then this is the one that's copied into the source. So we want to when wouldn't this work? So yeah, let's go through the case where it would work. So if I have like C equals to 3 or whatever, right? And and this is set to A, and this is set to B, and we do object extend AB, then what we're going to end up with is an object that looks like this, right? So this is going to be overwritten with 2, and then this A is going to be set to this. Sorry. So one thing that happens is in this circumstance is that we're actually using this object from B. We're inserting it into the A object. Okay, so this is by reference. It's the same exact object that's in B. So that might be a small problem. By default, deep extend is going to actually go in and loop through each of those and set it equal to whatever. So then this object wouldn't be equal to this. It would just kind of copy over the keys. Oh, and I wrote this wrong. Okay, so, but the thing that it wouldn't work with, so let's say we have B, and then we do like H is 3. No, that would work. What doesn't it work with? Sorry, I'm having like trouble figure. Like I know it's super simple, but why wouldn't it work? So this would work because this is the starting object. Can anyone help me out here? What does deep extend do that object assign does do? I know that object assign only extends the first level. Oh. Okay. So I think I want this. No. I'm really having trouble here thinking like what it doesn't do because it would replace. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I think this is it. So say this is actually super complicated. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't really need that either. So let's say like 1 and 8. Okay. So say we have these two objects and we extend this with this. Then B is going to be overwritten, right? So it's going to be 8. Yeah, so basically what's going to happen is that this A key is going to be overwritten with this, okay? So this is going to be the result because this A key is extended. But since it's not deep extended, you're going to lose this E. That's what's going to happen. So that's why deep extend is better if you're working with nested data, deeply nested data, because it's going to just replace all of the keys, all of the top level keys from one object with the top level keys the values of the top level keys from the second object. So you're just going to replace this, right, instead of deep extending it. But if you also recursively extended this, right, then you're going to get, then you're going to keep the E, right, because then the E, the way extend works, right, it's going to keep the source object, but it's just going to add on any properties from the second object, right? So then you're going to get like this. So basically, deep extend is, or sorry, this isn't extend, this is assign. But deep extend is basically just a recursive object assign. I think that's a pretty good description of it. I think it's just a recursive object assign. Okay, so that helped me clarify my understanding of that, I think. I hope we didn't lose the person that asked the question. Okay, so I think the thing we want to look at is remake options. So we want to say, if we're auto-generating the unique IDs, then we want to use our new special deep extend. But otherwise, we're fine with how it is. Okay, so let's look at like this save path, for example. So we get the data at the path, we see if that data is an object, and then we deep extend it. So this is a case where, and special deep extend is different, it uses IDs. Yep, definitely. Okay, so we're gonna say if remake options, and then we're going to say auto-generate unique IDs. Then we're going to use special deep extend, which we haven't imported yet. And we're going to do data at path and incoming data. And then we're going to say else. We're just going to use the regular deep extend. Okay, and let's look at the documentation for deep extend, because I think I used some language here that I like. This will modify target filling in data from source using an ID to find matching objects inside arrays. Okay. Yeah, also, this is like, my special deep extend function is badly named because usually extend and deep extend modifies the source, but this modifies the target. So it's actually not an extend function at all. It's a weird thing. I don't know. Okay, but anyways, deep extend using IDs to match objects in arrays. I think that's fine. Okay, so that's if it's an object. So if it's an array or a number or a string, do we just want to overwrite it? So if the data at the path, so say that our path is like username user and then favorite colors, and the favorite colors is an array. Do we just want to overwrite that data? No, because we want to do the special deep extend on it. So the problem, let's see. So special deep extend. So if it's an array, we're going to do target for each. This is getting complicated, actually. Okay, so this is so complicated. What target incoming data? Shoot. This is going to get so complicated. Because of what I just said, where it's not extending the source, it's extending the target. So this is not how this was built. Geez. So basically, I mean, we've already run into problems with just this first area, right? So we're special deep extending the data at path, the incoming data with the data at path. But the data at path is inside of existing data, which is what we end up saving at the end of the day. But that's not the thing that's getting deep extended by special deep extend. And you might be wondering, well, why don't we just switch these things, right? Well, we can't because we actually need to special deep extend the incoming data because it's using incoming data as the basis. So it's actually, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work with the path thing. Jeez. So, okay, data at path, and then we extend the incoming data. Okay, so if here we do a set, maybe this would work, right? So if we do a set and then we do existing data and then we do incoming data. Okay, so let's think through this. So let's say our data at the path is like A, B is 1, right? And then our, I don't know, the existing data is like one more level, right? So we're going to have like C is that. So this is the object that's in here, right? And then our save path is, in this case, would just be like C, right? Because we want to save into this, right? Because then we're getting, in order to get the data at the path, we're passing in C, so we get this, and that's why we get this as the output. And then we're going to say, okay, if we're auto-generating the unique IDs, that means all of these elements have their own unique IDs. Then we're going to do a special deep extend. And we're going to use the data at the path to extend the incoming data. And the incoming data, so let's actually put this on a new line. So let's say data at path, or let's do this. And then we're going to say existing data. And save path. Okay, and then we're going to say incoming data. Incoming data is going to look something like, it's probably going to look something like the data at path, but maybe, you know, it's going to look like this, right? So we're going to do the special deep extend, passing in this and then this, and it's actually going to end up looking like this, right? Because there's nothing here that is extra. So let's add, you know, something a little extra here. So then we're going to say incoming data after special deep extend, just to be very explicit. And it's going to look like this, except this is going to be a 3. Okay, so it's going to preserve this H key, but it's going to overwrite, it's going to, you know, keep this. Okay, so now, and then if we do the set, right, so then we're going to say set, so this is from Lodash, and we can pass in a path. So we're going to say set, let me just look up Lodash real quick. Okay, so we pass in the object and then the path. Okay. Okay, so we're going to say set, and we're going to say existing data, and then we're going to Okay, then we're going to pass in the path. Yep. Okay, so we're going to say save path, and then we're going to do incoming data. And so that's going to overwrite that. Okay, that seems good. I think that's fine. It's a little annoying, but I think it's fine. I think it's what we want. It's a little complicated, but I think it's what we want. Okay, then the else is if the existing data is an array, number, or string, overwrite it. So that's not exactly true. We don't want to just overwrite it because if it's an array and that array has objects that have IDs, we want to extend each of those. So again, we want to say this one. So we want to say if we're automatically generating IDs, then we want to do a special deep extend. But okay, here's the thing. What if it is a number or a string? I think then we can just overwrite it. So let's say else if, and I think I have isArray here. Do I have isArray? isArray. Where is isArray? Oops. Where is isArray coming from? Oh, okay, array isArray. Okay, yeah, we could just use that. Okay, so we'll use array isArray, and we'll say data at path. And then finally we'll do else. And then if it's anything else, so if existing data is if data at path is not an object or array, replace it. Just replace it. Okay. So if it's an array and we're auto-generating unique IDs, then again we want to do the special deep extend, and we want to pass in data at path and the incoming data. And this is going to loop through all of the items in the array, and it's going to extend each item based on the matching ID to the original array. And then it's going to modify the target. So we return target, but it's also modifying target. Okay, awesome. So then incoming data is going to be the one that we want again. So again, I think we're going to have to do this. So we're going to say set existing data, save path, incoming data. Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then we're going to say else. Okay. So we can say both of these actually up here. So we're going to say if it's an array and we're auto-generating unique IDs, then do the special deep extend. Otherwise, if data path is not an object or array, or it is, okay, if we're not auto-generating IDs, or if data path is not an object array, just replace it. And we'll say replace the data at the path. This is a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to mostly be working on this example application today, but it turns out that the functionality that I've already built into the framework is a lot to keep track of. I kind of wish I didn't have this save to path thing anymore. It's not really necessary now that we have IDs. but whatever. I'm going to preserve it for now because I think if you're writing a really simple application and you don't even want to use IDs, it is actually kind of nice to have saved path. Okay, so then we're going to say save to ID. Let's just say like examples. I like to create like examples to help me think through problems a lot, but I'll delete the examples afterwards. Okay, so if we're saving to an ID, we're going to get the item with ID from the existing data, and then we're going to run a deep extend on the item data to the incoming with the incoming data. So that's fine again if we're not auto-generating unique IDs. However, if we are generating unique IDs, then we should do a special deep extend on the incoming data from the item data, and then we want to somehow replace. Ooh, yeah, this is a hard one. So we want to replace that item with the incoming data. Right? I think so. Okay, so let's look at get item with ID. And we have get item with ID right here. And all we do is we do a for each deep, and then we say if it's an object and the value and there's an ID on it, and the ID is equal to the passed in ID, then return that item. And we actually loop through every item in the data. Okay, so and we're exporting it as the default, which we don't want anymore because we're also going to have a set or replace item with ID. Okay, so let's actually search this, and we're gonna do node modules, cache. So for anyone who's curious, I am, this is like a special way of searching Sublime where you can tell it not to look in certain directories, and I just have to write it out every time because I clear my clipboard before casting. Okay, so we're importing it right there. Okay, good. So we're only including it one place. Okay, great. So now we want to say export function replace item with ID. And I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work. Oh man. So yeah, I really don't know how this is going to work. What we could do actually is just what we could do is down here. Where are we? I think we're here, right? So we are, hey JAL97, how's it going? So what we have here is the incoming data is the most up to date. So what we could do is do object assign, and then we could assign incoming data. So that should work. because we're just going to replace all of the keys in item data with the incoming data. And we've already deep extended it. So any nested arrays are going to be replaced with the new one. I don't know, I think that would work. Yeah, I think that works. Wow, this is so much more annoying than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was just going to like replace all of the deep extend, which I think I can still do. Because I think well, no, it doesn't work exactly. It doesn't work with the path and the ID thing, you know? Okay, so let's remove that for now. Okay, so yeah, because like basically we don't want to touch any of the other data. In here, in this existing data object, right? We don't want to touch any of the other data. This function is just getting a little too complicated for me. Hey JMurph, hey Ritno TV, hey Sentipoo, how's it going? Oh, Sentipoo, I get it. That's funny. Okay, so yeah, I think this will work. And then else we're just gonna deep extend it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and then else, if it's an array, just overwrite the data, else deep extend it. So I think again, here we're gonna have an if at the top level, and we're gonna say if we're auto-generating unique IDs, we're gonna do something different. Else, you know, you can do the normal way you were doing it before. Okay, so if we are auto-generating unique IDs, I should probably change this option to be like, I don't know, using unique IDs, right? Or something simpler. So if we are auto-generating unique IDs, we want to do a special deep extend, and we want to pass in the existing data and the incoming data. And so that will end up with incoming data being the kind of final source. So then we're going to set existing data equal to incoming data, so that down here, when we update the data, this existing data is set to the right thing. Yeah. This is like way too complicated. But let's try it, right? Okay, I'm so nervous to try this. Okay, let's actually just look through the rest of the function real quick. Yeah, this is just updating it. And then this is, yeah. Yeah, okay, that looks fine. Hey, Evil Shalfie, how's it going? Okay, so let's test this out. If this works, I think we're going to be able to build it like a decent amount of this today in the next like half an hour to 40 minutes. Okay, so let's sign up as a new user, and let's put in like QWERTY. Sure, that's a cute name. And we're gonna sign up, and we're gonna go in here, and oh wait, no, not task fellow. We want adventure story. Okay, so if we look at the current data for this user, we should have, so QWERTY, top level story, we have, here, let's see, Json formatter, process. Okay, so we have, man, I don't want actual full screen. What is that bullshit? I don't like this one. Okay. JSON formatter. Just format it, please. Okay, so we have the top level story, then we have the text, then we have the choices, then we have the choice text and the text. So this is the current data that's in there. And what we want to see is, okay, if we save this top level story, right? So if we save to this ID, we're not going to lose the text like we were before. This text should be preserved. So let's go back here. Let's, we're going to do this, and then we're going to save. And it didn't even save. Oh my goodness, it didn't even save. So, oh, we crashed. Okay, this is fine. This is kind of a good place to be. Okay, yeah, nice. Okay, so it's not even like, yeah, it's not even trying yet because it doesn't have special deep extend. Okay, so we're gonna go into special deep extend, and I actually don't like exporting defaults, just because it makes it harder to work with things in the long run. It's better to just do a regular export. I don't know why you'd ever want to do an export default. I guess unless you want to make sure the module stays very super focused. But most of the time it's not worth it because in the long run you never know what you're going to do. Okay, so in here I'm going to do special deep extend, and we're going to import that from this dash case. Okay. So let's try this again. Save, go back here, refresh. It worked. Okay, let's look at our data. Let's see if it did it right. So QWERTY adventure story. It saved the text. It saved the text. The text is still there. Woohoo! That's awesome. No, like seriously, that's super cool. Okay, I need to grab some water. I'm gonna be right back, but I'm very excited about this. Oh, actually, let's commit this first, actually. Okay, so we've got this, that looks fine. That looks fine, that looks fine, that looks fine. That's good. That's good. Wait, what is this? Oh, yeah. That's good. Yep, we redid a lot of this. Okay, using special deep extend to save data. Woohoo, okay. And I don't think I had any console logs left over. Oh, I left these examples in there. I don't want to do that. It's kind of cool to have it there, but yeah, I don't think it's worth polluting the code with it. It's easy enough to create new examples, and they might not help other people. Okay, so let's commit that and push this out. Nice. Okay, so I am going to be right back, like within, I think, a few minutes. Okay, see ya. Hey Z3, welcome to the channel. Okay, I am back. Um, let's see. So what were we just working on? We were working on this incredibly complicated. I mean, it's not really that even that complicated, but um, I just never really wanted to get this complicated. But I guess we have a few different options, right? We have the ability to save to path. We have the ability to turn auto-generated unique IDs on or off. We have the ability to save to an ID, and we have the ability to save the entire page. Huh. Yeah, I think I could make this a lot more elegant if I thought about it, but I'm going to save that for a little bit later because right now I'm pretty sure we have the ability to save to an ID and deeply extend that object's ID without overwriting any of the other data based on matching IDs and preserving their data. So that's pretty exciting to me because that means I think we can make a multi-level story builder. Okay, so let's see. What is the next step for this? So um, if we look at the adventure story data, this is how we want it to be organized. And we have the top level story. And we're setting that there. So I think, okay, in the adventure story, we want to have another page, right? So we want to have like a story page, I think, so that we can point to an ID and get the story. Um, huh. So let's see. I think, let's see, let's actually just test this a little bit more. So if I create a new choice, what is this, what is that, what is that going to do? So if I create a new choice at this level, this is going to render this template, which is right here, and it's going to insert it inside of the closest story choices class. And we have choice and choice text here, and choice text there. Choice and choice text. Yeah, okay, so I think that's all we need for that. Okay, so let's create a new item. Awesome. And we don't have the ability to edit it yet, but that's okay, because we can, I think, add the ability to edit it pretty easily. So let's actually do that. Okay, so we're going to have a button, and we're going to say edit, and I think we're going to have a class here that just says button, button, and button, what is it, primary or default? I forgot. Primary. We're using the Spectre CSS framework, by the way. Okay, so now if we reload this, we have this. Now how do we get small buttons? Okay. So you'll notice like I'm kind of taking a pause here, like I'm not just charging into the code, and that's like a kind of a mental sanity type thing because I know I'm going to run into new problems with the saving code, or at least I'm expecting it, and those might be big problems, and I need to just take a break just to kind of regroup before I run into like any more huge problems, right? I want to at least operate under the assumption that everything's working perfectly just for a little bit. Because, yeah, it's just like a kind of a mental shield, mental protective thing. Um, okay, let's see. So I think I want it to look like not colored in, so that it doesn't look like kind of like a primary button. Okay, nice. So now we've got edit, edit, edit. And we might only want to show that if there's a user, right? So we're going to say if data dot, I think it's data dot user. Is it data dot user? No, I think it's just if user. Okay, so we're going to do that. Else, or sorry, end if. Okay, so yeah, we're logged in, so we should see them. Okay, so that's fine. And then the edit button is going to pop up an editable area. So we want to have data input editable, and then we want a remove button there too. So we're going to say with remove. And what do we want to put in here? We want to put the name of the thing we want to edit. So we want to edit the choice text. So we're going to say choice text. And then the way we want to edit it, which is text single, I think it's single line. Yeah, so it's text single line. So we'll save that, we'll refresh this. And now if we want to edit this, okay, so unfortunately we're not getting the choice text inside of this. Oh, and it's because we're storing the choice text next to it instead of on the top level. So we want to actually store the data on the top level. So we're going to just move this up here. And boom, that should be good. Okay, so let's, oh, and why is this display black? Okay, and we can actually put this on a single line now. Okay, so let's save that and refresh. So now if we edit it, we've got go inside, and we're going to put an exclamation point. That did not save, but it did actually save on the data, right? So we see the exclamation point there, but it didn't update the inner text of this. So in order to have that happen, we need to add a watch attribute. So we're going to do data watch key choice text. So whenever the choice text changes, we want to change the inner text of this element. Okay, so let's refresh this. And we're going to say go inside exclamation point, and wait, I put this on the button. Okay, we want it on the link. Oops. Okay, so cool. Let's refresh. Oh, it's kind of funny. So let's remove the exclamation points. Boom. Okay, nice. Now it's working. Now it's saving, and that's looking good. And now we've got the ability to edit this. Let's say like pick up a stick or a rock, large rock. Okay, so now we've got this. And let's look at what our data looks like. So if we go into temp data and we look at this data, we're going to say, okay, top level, there's a .cave, then we have choices. And this choice doesn't have text. Okay, which is fine. And each of these links, see they link to a, see down here, watch down here. So if I hover over them, they link to a route that's /story and then the ID of the story. So we need to make a new page called story, I think. I kind of want to use just this adventure story one. I just want to like reuse it. And I think we can. I don't think we need a new thing for this. So let's see. So if I do current item or data.toplevelStory, and then And then instead of linking to story, if I do adventure story here, adventure story, and I refresh this, something went wrong. Let's see. Template render error. Unknown path, line 11, column 41. That's weird because I don't feel like it changed anything. Oh, it might be this. Let's see. Yeah, it is that. Okay, so I guess I can't have an or inside of a set clause. Let's see, none jux set. Okay. So I can modify a variable. I can set multiple at once. Let's see. I think there's an or keyword here somewhere. Let's see if I can maybe put, oh man, well, so many ors. Okay, let's look up nunjux or. I guess I could just try it, right? Oh, why not? So let's put an or here and refresh this. And now if so yeah, I didn't get an error. And it's definitely set to top level story because I don't think there's a current item currently defined. But if I click here, what? Isn't that so cool? That's so cool, right? So, wow. So now I can click here and it gives me the text of the nested text, right? You went into but this doesn't have any choices yet, right? Nested choices. So let's create a new choice. And then, oops, wait. Oh, that was a problem. Okay, but yeah. But now I have a nested choice, but I didn't have an edit button at first, right? So I created a new choice and I didn't have an edit button. So that's a problem with the API routes. So let's look at API routes in here. And so I'm gonna show you what's going on here. So this is, yeah, definitely a bigger kind of problem with the way I'm handling things. So for the rendered routes, I'm passing in data and params and the query parameter and the path name and current item if there is one, and flash errors and the user. But when I create a new item, what I'm passing into that template is, where is it? Where am I rendering it? Oh, I'm not even rendering it here. I'm rendering it in get apps info. So I render it here. Oh, this is kind of a problem actually. So I render it with the starting data. So it doesn't even know if there's a user or not. So that's a problem. Okay, so how do I solve this? Is I don't render it here. I thought I could get away with rendering it here, but it looks like I'm going to have to render it inside of the API route because that's where I have access to all the other data. So I need, instead of the partial, I need like the string of the partial. So I'm going to get this template string here. Full path. So full path is starting data, auto-generate unique IDs, starting data. Okay, so I'm going to get the template string, and it's going to be dir name, and then template value path. Why did I reuse this? Value path. Okay, so this can just be template path because it's the same thing. And so I can use template path down here. And path to partial. What is path to partial? Template path. It's the same thing as this. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna just delete this, right? Because I don't need this. Yep. Okay, so now I have the template string. So I'll just put this at the top, I guess. And I'm using sync, read file sync, which is whatever. And then I'm going to say template string instead. So I'll do template string is template string. And it doesn't have a route because it's a partial. And it doesn't have the rendered HTML. And then in this page, I'm going to find the matching partial, and it's not going to have rendered HTML. I'm going to have to get that rendered HTML by saying ooh, where is it? This one. So I want something like this. So let's do HTML string instead, just so it matches. And then we're going to do nunchucks.render string. Hey Marlan77. And we're going to pass in the template string on matching partial. Template string, where is this coming from? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so matching partial.template string, and for the data, we're going to pass in matching partial, and we also need the data here. Okay, so we're going to just say starting data is starting data, and we're going to pass in the starting data here. Params, I don't think we're going to have params. Yeah, we actually don't need that in general. Query, I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever really need that in a partial. Hopefully not. Path name, we don't need. Current item, we don't need. Flash hours, we don't need. But user, we do want user. So, how do we get the user? It's just going to be on request.user. I think this will even work inside of an AJAX call. So we're just going to say user is user. And we're just going to save that. Okay, so this should work. As far as I can understand, I think this should work. So let's refresh and create a new choice. Now we get the edit button, but we don't get the default choice text. So let's see, was there an error? There wasn't an error. So I know what the thing that's happening here is. It's not getting the starting data. So if I console log 1, 2, 3, matching partial, I save that, and I refresh this, and I create a new one, and I look at 1, 2, 3. Oh, it did get the starting data. Oh, wait, no. No, okay, wait. Yeah, it did get the starting data. So it has choice and then choice text. So when I pass in matching partial dot starting data, it should give it this object. Which is an object. It is an object. And that's a choice, right? So that's here. So it should have, oh, I get it. I get it. Okay, so it doesn't actually care. It doesn't want data. It just wants the starting data. So yeah, it doesn't really care about this key, right? Because it's not gonna access data.choice or whatever. It just wants the regular choice in here. So we need to find a way of just spreading this into the parent object. And I think I've never used this before, the object spread operator. Yeah, I think we can just do that. So dot dot dot. Okay, and then let's refresh and add. Nice, it worked. Okay, so let's delete these. Now we've got a few default choices here. And we can edit these. Go find a bear to fight. And if we refresh, it saves it. If we go back to the top level of Adventure Story, it has this. If we do that, it has that. If we go in here, it doesn't have anything. So, okay, let's save what we have so far because we've done some really, I think, some really good work. So, oh yeah, init API routes. Let's get rid of this console log. Okay, so passing, let's say improvements. So we'll say improvements on the top level, and then in the description we're going to say passing user to partial templates. What else are we doing? I think that's pretty much all we're doing, actually. Oh, no, we did this here. So ability to edit choices, story choices, and using a single template for stories. For top level story and sub-stories. Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. So in case you're curious, you're watching along and you're like, wow, this is a lot of work to just get a very basic web app running. The work I'm doing right now is meant to only be done once. Once the framework is working as expected, all of this should be automatic. So you should only have to write some HTML templates. So you can see, like, in the Adventure Story template, we have this and we have these partials, right? So there's not a lot of code written, right? There's just, I don't know, what is it? Like 30 lines here, around 30 lines there, and less than half of 30 lines here. So it's like 60, 75 lines of code, all HTML. And you have, I don't know, what's close to a pretty good working application. And that's the main idea behind Remake, is that you can build a full application with, about 60, 70, maybe 80 lines of code, all pretty much HTML data attributes, and, some like CSS, of course, right, on top of that. And you can get like a pretty nicely working application. So all this back-end work I'm doing, you can kind of ignore that, because ideally, hopefully within like several months, might take a half a year or a year. Hopefully by that point, you'll be able to use this for almost any, you know, application. As long as it's like a small application, as long as it's not like, you're not trying to build the next Facebook, with like events and user relationships and all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to build, a calendar or a resume builder or a website builder or, all these things just very, very, very quickly, without like a lot of effort. Mostly just by writing some HTML and CSS. And that's the dream, I think, long term. Okay, so what do we need now? We need a back button. So let's put a back button in here. And we can put it on the inside of the story template, or we could put it at the top level. I'm not sure if it matters. Oh. Why do we have this? I don't think we need this. Okay, so we need a back button. Do we put it at the top level, or do we put it in the story? I'm actually not sure why we have this story as a separate template. I don't think there's a very good reason for it, but I guess, just having it separate from the app itself is nice. Um, I guess I'm thinking the back button isn't part of the story, so let's put it up here. And we'll say class button, and then button primary, and we'll say back. And where is this going to link to? I think the simplest thing is just to hook it up to the back button, to the history API. So I think it's like, I don't know, it's like history.previous, or I don't even remember what it is, but that's probably the simplest thing to do. But let me think, is there a way to get access to the parent ID? I don't think there is. Let me think. So I have the current item in here, which is going to have its own ID. So this is the story, the current story. But what I want is, so if we're looking at this demo data, or temp data, so who am I logged in as now? QWERTY. So if I'm in here, if I'm in this, where is it? This story? Yeah, this story right here. So if I'm in here and I want the ID for the top level story, which is right here, what would I have to do? I guess I would have to get like, there would have to be some like parent item reference. Let's see. I want to see if it's very easy to get. If it's not very easy to get, I'll just use the back button kind of hack for now. It's really not that big of a deal. It's going to work fine, I think. So let's go into these rendered routes and where we get the current item. So I'm pre-processing the data, and in here is where I'm getting the current item. So yeah, I have the parent value right here. So I think what I could do is just say let parent item, and then I could say parent item equals parent value, and then down here I think I can just return that. And then in the rendered routes, so we have current item, and let's see, what current item? Yeah, parent item. I don't know. I want to use like destructuring for this, but it's fine that it's not. So I'm just going to do that, and that, and that parent item. Okay, cool, cool, cool. And what did I do here? Oh, back button. Okay, so now let's link this to the parent item's ID. I guess I don't need to put on a new line. So let's do href and then slash adventure story slash interpolation curly braces, and then we're going to do parent item dot ID. And I think that's how we're linking to the story too. Let me just make sure. So for the choices, yeah, sorry. For the choices, we're doing adventure story and then choice.id. Okay, cool. So let's refresh this, and we've got this back button now. Okay, and it's always displayed. So we just need to make it not always displayed. But we did get the parent item thing working, which is pretty effing cool, I think. So how are we going to say... how are we going to say whether we should display this or not? I guess we could just say like if parent item, right? That should be a fairly easy way to do it in this particular circumstance. So we'll say if parent item, and if, and then refresh. Nice. So now we only, okay, nice. That's perfect. And we're going to do a margin bot of 2 on that. And the choices, let's see. So if we go into the choices, do I not have a margin? I don't have any margin attached to this, I think. I do. It's just the default UL. Okay, so let's do margin bot of like 4. That's probably going to be too much, actually. Yeah, that's way too much. Okay, so let's do 2, and then for the story, let's do like 1. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, let's wait, and refresh. Okay, cool. So now we've got a back button that can go up to the top level. We've got the ability to go in here. We've got the ability to go in here. Oh wait, what just happened? So we just went in here, and then we went into so let's see, the parent is NFP, and then if we go in here, the parent is U9, but if we click that one, we're going back to the top level, U9. Wait, and the ID is changing every time? HX. Yeah, something's broken. Okay, let's commit what we have so far. Something's broken because the IDs are changing every time, which shouldn't... Shouldn't be happening, I think. Well, no, I know it shouldn't be happening. It's very weird. Okay, added parent item to templates. Okay, boom, bada boom. Okay, cool. So what is happening? So, okay, let's say, so this is VZI. If I click in there and then I go back, it's still VZI. Okay, so this is stable. Oh, I think, I'm not sure actually what's happening. Okay, so let's look here. So I have ZGUP. If I go in here and I hover over this, TB. Okay, so this is, wait, TBKU? What? I'm very confused right now. I've created a monster. I've created a monster. What is going on? Is this even a thing? I'm logged in as QWERTY. I'm saying I'm at this ID. So I think I'm gonna finish this problem, figure this problem out, and then I'm gonna be done for the day. Because I think we've made a lot of progress, honestly. But where the heck is this ID coming from, and why is it rendering? Oh, I think I know maybe what's happening. Okay, so at the top level, I think what's happening is it's saying, okay, I have this ID, and let's just confirm this. So I think it's not finding this ID. So let's confirm. Let's go in. Oh shoot. What? Wait. What? Is there a way to get this entire object? Username. Oops. QWERTY. App data. I don't know how to. Can I just get this? Okay, whatever. It's showing it now. Okay, so adventure story. This is what we want. Let's copy that and let's get the JSON formatter. And let's paste this in there and beautify it. Okay, so let's make sure we don't have this in our current data. So TD is not something that's in there. Okay, so I think what's happening is it's not finding it, right? So the way that Remake works is it tries to find an item with this matching ID, and then if it doesn't find it, or sorry, if it does find it, it sets current item, right? So that it automatically sets this to the matching, object. And if it doesn't find it, then what we're doing here is we're setting current item manually to be equal to the top level story. So what's happening here is it's saying, oh, I can't find this ID, so I'm just going to render the top level story. And I think what I would rather do is if it has an ID and it doesn't find it. It doesn't find an element with that ID. I think it should show a 404. No, this is Remake.js. It's a custom framework I'm building. You can go to remakejs.com to learn more about it. There's an amazing tutorial video on it if you want to watch that. And yeah, I've used React and I've used Vue.js and I use Vue.js at work. I really like them both, but this framework is meant for people who hate Webpack, who hate it's like setting up a development environment, who just like want to build an app in a couple hours. The idea is that you can just build some HTML and CSS and then attach some special data attributes, and all of a sudden you have a working web app. If anyone's curious, I created this really nice tutorial that you can see right here. And it's a 30-minute tutorial, but it teaches you how to build like a pretty advanced application from scratch using Remake. And it's pretty slick, I think. It's basically a Trello clone. And you can actually see it here. I'll show it to you, Space Nuggets. So if we go into TaskFellow, you can see you can like add a new, oh man, okay, never mind. It's a failure. Everything's a failure. I'm like in the middle of developing this, so it did work like a second ago. You can drag these columns, but for some reason you can't add a new stack right now. I don't know. But you can add items to each of the lists. You can reorder them. Awesome. Thank you for being understanding. Um, yeah, it's just like I'm right in the middle of developing another application, and I'm making some changes to the framework as I do that. So I am definitely going to add that to the list of to-dos. Okay, so fix adding a stack in TaskFellow. Okay, so let me figure out what's going on here. So yeah, I was saying like if this ID doesn't match anything, if there is an ID and we search and it doesn't match anything, I would prefer that to 404 than to display something that isn't there. So I think here is what we want to do. So let's say if params okay. So I think what I want is if params ID, so right here, I think I'll just say like if params ID and there's no current item, then we're just gonna send 404. This is like a little hacky, and I think I can send a response, like what do you call it? Like express JS 404. Status. There we go. So we'll say status 404. And we're just gonna send this text, which is pretty bad. But okay, so if I refresh this, boom, 404 not found. Okay, so now we have a better idea. So if I click back here, this is going to point to ZX29, which doesn't exist. So how the heck is it getting this ID if it doesn't exist? ZX29. And it changes every time. So I think I know what's happening, actually. Okay, so I think I made a mistake trying to get parent item to work. But I don't know, whatever. Let's keep trying. If it doesn't work, we can always just go back to the other way of doing things like that I mentioned earlier, where we just have an on-click handler and we just go to the previous item in history. I think that's a fine compromise, but let's just try to get this working. So I think what's happening here is it is getting parent item, right? So from preprocessed response, let's see. So for each data, so what is the data I'm looping over? So it should just be the general app data. Maybe parent value isn't what I think it is. You know what I think it is? I think it isn't what I think it is. I think it's the root. Would that even make sense? Okay, let's see. So this is ZG up. If I refresh this, is that changing? No. I actually don't even know. I have no idea what's happening. Okay, let's see. Let's see what parent item is, right? Parent value is. So let's console log parent value right here. Just to get like a rough idea of just like basically what is it. Okay, so C4. Okay, so it looks like it's kind of what we expect it to be. So it's this wait, where the heck did my where did my JSON formatter go? Okay, whatever. We have the data anyways right here. Temp data adventure story. Okay, so we have it right here anyways. Okay, so we'll just leave that there for now. Okay, so the parent of this one, right? So if I go back and I go find a bear to fight. So that's this one. Okay. So if I click into this, go find a bear to fight, that should be RIG. Okay. Boom. So we've got RIG. And then if I look at the parent of that, oh, it's giving me the array. It's giving me the array. And I think if I look for ID on that, it's going to be undefined. So it's giving me, I don't know what's happening. Let's see. Okay. So I think I'm getting back an array here. Yeah, definitely I'm getting back an array. And then we have, so parent item is an array here. And then we're passing it into the template. Okay. And then what do we do with it? So we say if parent item, it exists, it's an array, then we're going to do parent item.id, and for some reason that returns something? What? Okay, so what if I do .id here? That shouldn't do anything, right? It gives me back. Oh, wait. Huh? Oh, what? What? Wait, it does have an ID. I'm adding an ID to the array? Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay. What am I doing? What have I done? So preprocessed data. So this is where I add the IDs. And I say if is object. So is object, that's from Lodash. That should know if it's an object or not. Right? How did my arrays get IDs? Okay, wait. And if I look at the actual data, the array doesn't have an ID here. Okay, so x14, yep, x14. Okay, so it's matching. So my arrays are getting IDs. I don't know how. I don't know how. Hmm. Let's see. So I guess we could just console log type of, or wait, array is array value here, right? And we'll just do like 444. I don't think this should work, right? Because is object, it's coming from Lodash. Lodash knows what's up. They're not going to say an array is an object, right? So there's no way an array gets passed here. Let's refresh, see what happens. False. False, true. Okay, what? Wait, is object. What? No. I feel so betrayed, actually. Like what? I'm saying if is object value. And then is array value. Okay, what? Seriously. What? I feel very betrayed right now, actually. I'm sure it's something I'm doing wrong, and it's not something they're doing wrong. What? They think it's okay? Are you serious? There's no way. There's no way. Is object. Oh my god. I'm like so sad right now. What? Okay. So I guess you have to use is plain object. What a fucking bullshit thing. If I'm asking if it's an object, it's not an array. Like, what? it even returns true for functions? That's so silly. Oh my god. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Okay, whatever. Is plain object. That's the one we want. Um, okay, so if we do, let's see, underscore. Is anyone else upset by this? I feel like no one else is upset by this. Why is that? Okay, so it turns out we want is plain object instead of is object. What the fuck? Okay, so we're gonna say low-yes. Let's search our entire application for this stupid fucking library. I'm sorry, I'm just really mad right now. Okay, so let's, okay, so we get our special search thing. We'll search for this, and every time we're using low-es is object, we're going to say is plain object instead. So, oh my god, so annoying. It's really, really annoying actually, because I don't know why. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. We know now. I just hate that they think that's okay. It's like, technically, sure, it's an object, but there's no one in, like, ever who would ever assume that if you call is object on, I guess there's some people who would think, they're like, oh yeah, according to JavaScript, it is an object. But it's like, why am I using your utility library if I want the way that JavaScript does it automatically? I would just use type of or whatever. Okay, so whatever, I'm over it. Let's see. So everything's broken. Literally everything's broken. So we're gonna say is plain object here. I guarantee like so many people have been burned by this. Okay, but I said I was over it. Am I? I think I am. Okay, so boom. We still haven't fixed this though. package log, package JSON, yarn lock. Okay, cool. So we fixed this bug, but the problem still remains. We have parent item being set to an array when we want it set to the nearest object. So you know what I'm going to do here is instead of console logging parent value.id, I'm gonna put context in here. Let's see what we get back. So if I refresh this, oops. Okay, so now we've got, okay, we've got path, we've got parent, okay, parent, huh. Okay, so we got path, parent, parents, object, so I think this is the top level object. Depth is circular, circular parent, and circular parent index. Okay, so so let's see. So parent. Oh, it gives me the what? Weird. What? Wait, what? So it's giving me the value of the parent as well as the key as well as the path, as well as its parent. Huh? I don't get it. This is like really weird. I'm sure I have everything I need here, but it's just a very weird way of doing it. Yeah, so I think this is the one I was using before. This is the array. I don't know, I wish it just gave me like... Okay, so this is the top level, I guess. Yeah, this is the top level, because it doesn't have a parent, it doesn't have a path, it doesn't have a key, it just has a value. Yeah, and the value is an object. Okay, and then this is the top level story, and then this is the choices, and then is this the... Is this equal to this? I think not. Oh, yeah, yeah. Very, very, very weird. I kind of like want to switch this for each deep library out and use a different one. I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of think it's good. I just wish there was a way to get the closest object very easily. And I don't think there is. Let's look at where I'm using for each deep, because I really am actually considering switching it out. So I use it here. I use it here. I don't use it here, but I include it here. And I use it here. So I don't think it would be that much to switch it out. And let's just see npm for each deep. Deep for each deep. Okay, so this one looks like it was released. so the latest, value, key, subject, and path. It doesn't seem much better, actually. For each deep. Was this updated recently? No, last published was there. It gives me the value, key, current object, and current path. I mean, I have that. Let's look at this one. No, it's not that useful. Okay, so I guess, yeah, I guess the one I have is fine. It'd be nice if JavaScript came with something, that made it easier to navigate objects and nested objects. I know that's just not how JavaScript is built, but it'd just be kind of cool to just be able to like have an object and just be like, give me your parent, But it can have multiple parents, it can belong to different objects or whatever. So I understand that that's not how it works. Okay, so back to this. So let's figure out what this is saying, right? So we're at this kind of low level of the data. So I think we're right here, right? So if we get the parent, so parent is going to be top level story, and then choices, and then the first choice, and then choices. So it's this one, right? Is this array? And then the parent above that, oh, weird. Value, array. It's the same. So this is the same as this. Okay, so I can just loop through parents, starting from the end. Okay, so if I want to get the parent item, which has to be an object, we want to loop through context.parents. Okay, so we're going to say for let I equal 0. I is less than context.parents.length, and then I plus plus, and we're going to say if is plain object. If is plain object for context.parents, I, then we're going to set parent item equal to this. Oops, that. Okay, cool. So, but this won't work, right? Because we're looping through from the start. So we're actually starting here. So it's going to be like, oh yeah, we found it. And then it's just going to be the top level. But we want to loop through in reverse. So I want to set I equal to I don't know if I've ever written a reverse loop, but I think it's pretty easy. So I think we just want to start with the last index. So it's going to be this. So we're going to say context.parents.length, and I think it's -1, right? Because then that's the last index. And then we're going to stop when I so we're going to continue as long as I doesn't equal -1, right? Let's see. Okay. And for a for loop, this is where we set it up. This is what says if we run the current loop, I think. And then this is what says this is what happens before we run. Is it before or after? I think it's after. So it's this first. Then I think we check this. Then we run the code inside of it, and then we do this. I think that's true. So we'll say if I is less than 0, then don't continue. And then we're going to do I minus minus. I don't know. Does this work? Let's test it. This is kind of cool though. I kind of like looping through things in reverse. So let's write an array that is in reverse order. So we'll do 3, 2, 1, and we want to loop through it so it's 1, 2, 3. So we're going to say let I equal array.length I, and then we're just going to console log in here. Array I, and actually let's do C B A instead, just so we don't like confuse it with the index. I don't know, just in case, whatever. Let's see. Nothing. Okay. So okay, I equals array.length -1. So that's going to give us 3 minus 1 is 2. So I is going to start off as 2. And then we're going to check, is 2 less than 0? No. So I'd imagine we would console log this. What? Okay, let's do var I instead, so I can see what it's set to. So it's set to 2. I is less than 0. I need to look up how a for loop looks, how it works. This is embarrassing. Jeez. I like DigitalOcean, but I wish there should just be like an article at the top that's just like very illustrative, you know? Okay, so for statement, initial expression, so condition. The condition expression is evaluated. Okay, so this is how it happens. So the initial expression, then the condition. If the condition is true, the loops. Oh, the loop. Okay, this is what I'm getting wrong. If it's true, it continues. So I don't want it to start off as false. Okay, so if I is greater than -1. Okay, what? Because I'm using let, I guess. Okay, good, awesome, it works. Okay, nice. Okay, so I was doing it wrong. Okay, so let's see. Let I equals length -1. Okay, so I is greater than -1, and then I minus minus, and then context parents I, and parent item context parents I. Okay. I think that should work. Let's say, I think this simplifies the code. Let's just set this to a variable and put this in here. Yeah. And we'll just say like current parent. Okay, cool. So I think that should do it. I think this makes sense too. To have like it be the closest object. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's refresh. If I go here, okay, so now it doesn't have a parent. It doesn't have, it's not giving me an ID. It's not giving me a parent item. So let's console log in here. Current parent. And refresh. Oh, it's because it needs it needs the value, not the yeah, it doesn't care. Okay, so current parent value. Okay, cool. Because it's an object that like captures everything about the parent, right? It's going to give me the key, the path, the parent, and the current and the value of the parent we're looping through. Okay. So this should work. Boom. And now if we click this, oh jeez. What? Okay, whatever. Let's go in here. Let's go inside. Go find a bear to fight. Up. It didn't work. Okay, is this a thing? Is this actually a thing? It is. It's the top level one. So you didn't find an object until the top level one? Okay, let's see what we're console logging here. So if we go down to the bottom. Okay, so let's do like 1, 2, 3. Let's clear the console. Let's refresh the page. Oh wait, let's go back. And let's refresh the page. Okay, cool. So now we're looping through all the parents, and we've got this, and then we've got go inside. So if we're at this level, it makes sense that the first one is choices, where it's this, and then the second one is go inside. Oh wait, okay. I am very, 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 very being very stupid right now. So I didn't. I'm setting it over and over again. I'm looping through the whole thing. So basically, I'm in a for loop. So after I find it, I should just break. Nice, and that's why for loops are awesome. Okay, so now let's go back to the top level. Let's go inside, go find a bear to fight, and then let's see, back. Back, and back. And back. Well, I don't know why that worked. So this should be the top level, and I don't know why. Oh, I do know why we're getting a parent item. Because yeah, because we do have a parent item, right? Because we have this key, and then the parent item is this. You know, it's the parent object, and so it's like, yeah, you got a parent, you got a parent object. So I guess what I could do instead is just say like if parent item dot text, if parent item and parent item dot text. I think and works here because or works here, so I would think and would work too in this templating language. Okay, cool. So now we go back. Okay, nice. So now there's go find a bear to fight, and right now we're in this context. So we have the choice text. but we don't have the actual text. So if I click here and I say like hello, then this should modify this. Wait. Didn't I click inside of this one? Yeah. RIG. What? Wait. Oh no. Oh no. This is my worst nightmare, actually. Okay, so we have two objects with the same ID, which shouldn't happen with our new way of extending the data. Geez, why? Okay, let's, geez, that sucks. Why is this happening? Okay, let's save what we have so far, because I think, we made some good progress. Ability to set parent item, or ability to get parent item in template. Fixed some bugs. Hey, good idea, Co. How's it going? Oh, let's make sure I didn't leave any code in here. That shouldn't be in here. Nope, okay. Or wait. Nope, looks good. Okay, so, man, there's a couple problems now. So one is this data. So let's go into our data for QWERTY. And let's go into here and copy this, and let's get our JSON formatter and paste this in here and beautify it. Okay, so we do actually have two with the exact same ID, which shouldn't happen, but I think we can figure it out. So I think, let's see what does the DOM look like. So if we go in here and we look at what the ID is, so we're saving to this ID. Geez. So, yep, that's the ID we're saving to, okay. And, oh, weird. Story choices. Oh, okay. Yeah, as long as the story choices are inside of the ID, they'll save there too. Okay, good. I was just, confused for a second. Okay, so we have this top level ID. So we are definitely saving to that, right? So if we do 1, we're saving, we're passing in data of ID with the app name, with save to ID equal to that. Okay, so if we go to our API endpoints, so if we go in here, oh wait, this isn't the right one. Oh man, I hope I didn't modify this one. No, okay, we can remove this. Okay, so if I go into the API routes, and I look at the save to ID function, we're going to get an item with the ID. Okay, so that looks fine. And then auto-generating unique IDs is turned on. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend the incoming data. So that's going to be this data right here. We're going to extend that with the item data. And then we're going to extend the item data with the incoming data. And I'm not sure why that would cause a duplicate item to pop up. That's very confusing. Okay, let's go back. Let's just make sure that this is the one that's being called. And let's go into another choice. Oh wait, what? Are these these are all RIG? Why are these all RIG? Okay, so the first two are RIG. Yeah, because it was duplicated or whatever. Which shouldn't happen, shouldn't be possible, but it is. So we're gonna go in here and then we're gonna edit this. And as far as like the plan is that it should just extend the data in here. But I think it's going to duplicate it. So if we type in like red here, it didn't duplicate it this time. Okay. It didn't duplicate it, it just extended it. That's very weird. So unless somehow two IDs were created at the, like, which is nearly impossible. I think it's like a 1 in 100,000 chance, or even more. No, I think it's like 1 in a million or 1 in a billion chance. Unless that's happening, I think there's a bug somewhere. Okay, let's start over with a new user. And let's go into Adventure Story. And let's go in here, add some new choices. Find a bear to fight. And then this is QV. And then in here, we're going to say hello to. And let's look at the data. So if we look at Roo's data, Roo. We got it duplicated again. So this is good news actually, because the worst thing is having a bug that you can't replicate. But it's good if you can replicate it. Okay, so what were the exact steps? So we went in here. Okay, so let's try that again. So let's go in, let's sign up, and let's do, okay, YTR. And then let's go into Adventure Story again. And let's open up the console just so we get an idea of what the network requests are. So we're going to click Go Inside. We're going to load the new page, right? Then we're going to create a new choice. We're going to say, go fight a bear. And then that's going to create a new item. And for some reason, it saves the page twice, which is whatever. I don't care right now. It saves it to an ID of GL, which is the story, and it passes in the text, and it passes in this choice. Okay, and then we call, oh, okay, yep, it makes sense that it called it save twice, because we created a new item, then we edited that item and called save, and then we, or wait, sorry. We created a new item, and then it saved that item, and then we edited that item, and then it saved that. So then this has the updated choice text. Okay, great. And this has the ID of GLJ. So we're going to go into this, right? I mean, everything I think so far is what we expected. Now here's where the problems arise. So let's clear the network tab. Let's go in here and say hello. Uh, Black Mamba, how's it going? I'm going to click save. And now let's look at what happened. So now we passed in app name adventure story, save to ID, and we passed in this data. So we passed in ID of QV5 and hello. And on the back end, if we look at this, oh my goodness. So now we didn't duplicate it. Now we didn't duplicate it. Are you serious? Now we didn't duplicate it, so it's not. I don't know what happened then. I guess let's try again, right? Let's just try again, see if we can get it to get the bug to replicate. Okay, try again. Go into adventure story, go into here, create a new choice, edit it, go find a bear to fight, click this, do hello 2, and let's see. So if we look at, what was it, QWE, I think? Again, it didn't have a problem. But we had a problem twice, so I feel like it's not just a coincidence. You know, not a coincidence. I feel like I feel like it's not just like we happen to create, you know, 2 items with the same ID without even realizing that we created 2 items, right? Because I don't think we ever intentionally created 2 items. Okay, well, I think I need a break. Welcome to all the new viewers. I hope you enjoyed today. I'm sorry I didn't get to focus more on building out a demo application and focus more on bug fixing and adding new features to the framework. Hopefully by tomorrow I have some of this worked out and we can focus more on building out the demo application, this, you know, adventure story, and we can play around with it and have fun. Maybe style it a little bit. But yeah, so far, you've been running into a few problems. I think it's natural with a new framework. I might change some things around how things work to make it simpler, because right now it's getting, you know, a little bit tough to figure out some things. But yeah, I will be on tomorrow, probably around noon, maybe 1 p.m. And I'll see you guys then. And I'm gonna let's find someone to raid. You guys up for a raid? Let's see. Character animation, multiplayer game dev, React Node and Python. This seems good. Let's see what they're like. Okay, cool. So we will raid this person. I will see you guys tomorrow. Adios. I think I just stopped streaming.